Hello, everyone. I am super uber excited, over the moon to have our guest today, JB Owen. And when you talk about people making a difference in the world, leaving their footprint, their energetic imprint, making an impact, sparking, igniting the flame, this girl right here, JB Owen, is the one. Like, JB, I'm just honored to know you, to call you my friend. I'm honored to be in a book with you, right? Ignite Love. And we're going to talk all about, all of that. And, but yeah, I'm just so excited that you are here today so that we can introduce you to our flock. And I met JB, oh gosh, I don't know how many years ago, but I actually, I've known JB's mother for many years. And she's, a beautiful soul, and we should have her on one time as well. And, something that really your mother said to me many years ago that impacted me in a huge way, and that has stuck with me. And just knowing that you had that kind of influence certainly tells me how you got to where you are today. And the thing that she said to me was that back in the 80s, she was building a business, and it was during a recession. And she was very successful building a business during the recession. And somebody had said to her, like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, what do you mean? And the thing that she said to me that impacted me was that she didn't know that you weren't supposed to have a successful business during a recession.
Yeah.
It was something, right? So she didn't know. And because of that, she just blazed on and did her own thing. And I think, JB, that, you have that piece of your mom in you, because you've done things that it's like people go, what? Is she crazy? Is she out of her mind? Right? Because of our own belief systems and things like that. But you just do it anyways, right? Yeah.
That's a great story. Thank you for telling me that. Actually, my mom has told me a lot about, you just need to blaze on, and you don't pay attention to what everybody else is doing. Just pay attention to what you're capable of doing.
Yeah. Or what other people think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's really, she's impacted me in that. I think about, okay, well, if we don't know any better, then just do it, right?
Yeah, if we don't know it's not possible, then it might be possible. Like, just go after that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your family. Like we all have a, started somewhere, right? And I know sometimes people look at our success and say, wow, it's always been that way or whatever, but they don't know the road it took for us to get to where we are today. And I think a lot of that starts from, our family values, how we were raised. Do you want to share with us any bits or tidbits of that kind of information?
Yeah, I don't often share this, but thank you for asking. And it's so delightful to be here with both of you. And thank you for having me on, and all of your listeners. A joy to be here. I did have a very interesting childhood. My parents were both entrepreneurs. They did a lot of things. And I think, some of my very, very first memories are being on a job site when my dad was building an apartment building. And, growing up, my parents were always building and constructing and creating. And part of just life was a lot to do with building. We built houses. My parents built a very successful fitness center. And so I was always on job sites, which meant there was always work to be done, which meant there were always nails to be picked up or things to be swept or boards to be moved. And so at a really young age, I just got into the mindset of there's stuff to be done and there's things to be done. But the neat thing about construction is you always get to see your progress. And I found that was a really important part of my personality. unlike a job like a nurse who is sort of doing the same thing over and over again, for example, in my opinion, or, you know, doing paperwork over, you work at a bank and you sort of do the same thing all the time. In construction, you get to see the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you get to see your progress. And I think for me as a child, I became very enlightened by the fact that there was progress to be made and there was this process that you could see. And so most of the things that I do now, and if I really analyze myself today, I love progress. I love projects. I love doing things that have that beginning, that middle, the end. I love when things get wrapped up. I love the new start of something else. And so that's a bit of what fuels me. And I think I got that from my childhood.
Awesome.
Very cool analogy, because with that construction too, a lot of people don't see the construction till it's above ground, but you've learned that you have to build that solid foundation. And it's the unseen work, again, that people don't even realize is involved in building an apartment building, for example.
Yeah, and there were a lot of sacrifices, I think, that we had to make. I mean, I remember us building my parents' dream house, and it had the swimming pool, but everyone saw the house at the end, the big giant house with the swimming pool. Nobody remembers that we lived in a motorhome for 7 months on the property in the mud. I remember plywood boards on the ground, coming out of the motorhome with mud, going to school. I mean, we sacrificed living in a motorhome so that my parents could build our dream home. And again, like a lot of people see the end result, but they don't see the work that goes into getting the results.
Right.
Bingo.
And that's where you are today, you know, the end. Well, you're not at the end result. I mean, we're constantly moving, shifting and changing. And I really want to bring some huge awareness to what you're doing out in the world right now, because it has such a huge impact and is going to have such a huge impact. Now, for all of you listening, JB is known as the Pink Billionaire. And I wore pink today just for you, JB.
I love it. I love it.
And so tell us, why are you known as the Pink Billionaire?
Yeah, it's a great story. You know, I've always wanted to be a billionaire. I just, you know, ever since I was a kid, that was like a big, far outreach, you know, goal to have. But as I got older, I realized that billionaire is not just about money. It's not just the dollar amount that you put in your bank account, and that we all have this billionaire ability, a billion smiles, a billion impacts, a billion hugs, a billion ways to touch people's lives. And I thought that it was really unfair that the word billionaire was just being given to people that had, you know, the 0 in their bank account. And what I realized is that if you want to become a billionaire, you have to have a certain consciousness. And I really talk a lot now about the billionaire consciousness, because you have to think beyond the dollar amount when you're looking at the billions. You're thinking, if Elon Musk is a billionaire, he's thinking legacy, he's thinking decades, he's thinking massive amounts of people. Right. And so to shift your mindset into, what do I need to do to make a massive impact? How many lives can I touch? What are the different ways that I can have that billionaire belief system in me? I felt like that was more what I was driving and striving towards. And then I put the word pink on it because I feel like, as a business owner and an entrepreneur, which I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, I joke around that I started my first business when I was 9, which I really did. But early in, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, a woman in business was a very different thing than what we see today. And women in business, for me, even, I was trying to be a man. I was trying to be in the man values. I was trying to talk like a man, dress like a man, show up like a man, and really living in that masculine mindset. And what I realized is that the feminine, the pink, the fierce, the fabulous, and the feminine really brings a lot to business. And women really, we shortchanged ourselves. And so the Pink Billionaire reminds me every day to be a woman, be feminine, be doing business the way women do business, because that's our strength and that's our gift, and don't try to be anything else. And then I can make a billion impacts and a billion influences and make and touch a billion lives and still feel a tremendous, if not more, sense of wealth than I would if I just had the money.
I love
Beautiful.
that. Fabulous.
Beautiful.
Fabulous and fearless. And in feng shui, of course, the pink, when we relate it to you know, our home environment and chakras and the 5 elements and all of that. The pink represents the heart, right?
Love the
It's coming
relationships.
from the heart. It's all about fire energy. So I absolutely,
I love that. I'm going to start
yeah.
adopting that because, you know, sometimes for me, pink represents like unlimited bliss, and it represents like, I guess, as a girl or a child or, you know, just a person who loves creativity, you know, pink for me is kind of just limitless, and it's like giddy and fun and joyful and light. And if it comes from the heart, then amen. I love that.
It
Cool.
absolutely does. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I see a lot of ignite behind you, JB. So there's got to be a story or a catalyst. And what has brought on all this ignite?
Yeah, well, I feel like every single person has an ignite moment. They have this moment that
Oh,
changes
cool.
them and transforms them and is really a pinnacle. It's like a game changer. It pushes them in a new direction. And a lot of us have ignite moments that really were painful and difficult and took us to our knees and smacked us upside the head.
Mhm.
But ultimately, in the end, we look back at that ignite moment and we realize like that was the best thing that ever happened to me, or that was the catalyst for change, or that pushed me in a new direction. And so I felt like if we could share our ignite moments, because we've all had hardships and pain, and if we could show people how to transmute that into something powerful, then we actually could make an impact in other people instead of us all just living in our stories. Some people are stuck in their story. Some people are hiding in their story. Some people are ashamed of their story. If we can empower people to share their story and talk about their ignite moments and what they learned, then we could all learn from each other. And that's really the precedent behind Ignite. And I felt like right now, more than ever, we have to come together. We have to see the commonalities amongst humanity. We have to see the things that we can learn from each other. And if you can do it, I can do it. And if she can do it, they can do it. And people need to feel the ability to rise up and be a better version of themselves despite their past. And so that's really how Ignite was born.
Perfect. So there had to have been then for you, based on what you're saying, an ignite moment.
Yeah, I have lots of ignite moments. I really, really do. And I've published 14 books now. And so you can see 14 different ignite stories of JB in all of the books. But I do also will say, going back to my childhood, there was a lot of times because my parents were working so much and so busy building their businesses that I didn't really feel noticed and seen and heard. And as I got older, and just before I started this company, I realized like some of the pain that all of us experience in life is the desire to be seen, the wantingness to be heard, and the need to belong. And if we could actually all be seen, heard, and belong, imagine how much more healed we'd be as a collective. And I thought, you know, that's interesting that that's my childhood pain. Thank you, God, for giving me that, because now it's giving me the drive to go on and try and help others.
Wow.
And so let's talk about Ignite, because again, you know, I'm in the book with JB, Ignite Love, and this is an incredible, because JB, like, seriously, when did you start Ignite? So Ignite You.
Yeah, in 2019. So it's just a baby company with a big vision.
Right. So in 2019, JB, along with the support of her wonderful, loving husband, and they have an incredible love story, let me tell you, and you can read all about that. They, you know, with JB's vision to impact the lives of a billion people, started this journey of Ignite You. And it's just grown and grown. And in that short time, there are now 14 international best-selling collaboration books. And it's just amazing the community that you have created, JB. I am honored to be a part of it. I applaud you for your courage, your dedication, your willingness to change and help change people's lives. The people that I've met as a result of collaborating in this book have been life enhancing. And it really, it's just exciting. And I really do want to do another book with you at some point. And having said that, I know that you have another book coming out soon with an amazing, another amazing person. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? And is there still room, if there's somebody listening to this, that they might want to be in that collaborative book as well?
Yeah, well, thank you for saying all that. And I really will second you on the community. These are people, we have over 700 authors that we've published and made international bestsellers, and some of the most heart-centered, soul-centered people on the planet, because all of them have shown up with their Ignite moment on their sleeve.
Yeah.
They're willing to bear their vulnerability and be authentic. And I think that makes a very different community than people who show up based on their bank account or their last name or their business card. And so it really creates an environment of closeness and connection and authenticity. And I really appreciate you saying that, because that's what I'm most proud of, is the community and the people that we've touched and have collaborated and have made big impacts. And we've been so blessed to be working with the amazing Les Brown. He is the master of storytelling. Yes,
He is.
Absolutely. And so I love to say, when you tell your story, you transform your life, because you free yourself. You give yourself the ability to gain, grow, and benefit from your story. And when you can gift it to other people, that's the feelings we all have as humans. We want to inspire others around us. And so Les Brown is the master in storytelling and learning how to use your voice to tell a story. We are the leaders of Empowerment Publishing, which is all about writing your story. And I just thought it was a great fit. And of course, Universe moved mountains to make it happen. And I was able to meet Les. And it's a great story. My phone was ringing and it was an unknown number. And so I picked it up kind of cheeky. I'm like, hello. And they're like, is JBO in there? And I was like, who's calling? And they're like, is this JBO? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, please hold the line for Les Brown. And I was like, oh, suddenly I had to change my attitude. And Les Brown came on the phone, and he was just incredible. And he actually said, let's do this book together. I know you've sent me a proposal. Let's do it. And he's like, would you be available to do a podcast in about 45 minutes? And I was like, absolutely. Because he heard all about what we were doing. So I hung up the phone. His people called me. Let's get you on for the podcast. I'm in the queue. 5 minutes before the podcast, they say, okay, we know you guys are doing a book, but let's not say anything about it on the podcast, because it was just a conversation you had 45 minutes ago. Let's just talk about what Ignite, talk about what you're doing, talk about your experience. I'm like, okay, I won't mention anything about the book, but I'm still like so excited. And I get on the podcast, and Les Brown's like, everybody, this is JB Owen, and we're doing a book together. And suddenly, the podcast went in a whole new direction. And so that's the excitement about being ready, because I love to say, prepare what you pray for. And I had prayed for the ability to work with Les Brown. And then God says, be prepared for your prayers, because they show up in a moment's notice. So be prepared. And so for all of you listeners who have a dream and a desire and a willingness and a wantingness, and you're waiting for that call, for that door to open, for that thing to happen, be prepared, get prepared, have yourself in a situation so that when it shows up, you immediately am saying, yes, universe, I'm ready.
I love
that's
that.
Brilliant.
Love it.
Yeah. So is there still spots available to be in a book with JB Owen and Les Brown?
Yeah, there is. We have 4 spots left, and we're absolutely looking for those people who really want to catapult their brand to the next level. I mean, you having Les Brown behind you, pushing you, promoting you, sharing with you, introducing you to his network, teaching you, and then you've got the Ignite engine behind you, publishing you, taking you international bestseller, teaching you the business of being an author. It really is. It catapults you forward. It gets you to the front of the line. It gives huge things for your business. Like, I can barely even imagine, and I'm so excited about the opportunities that people get from publishing, working with Les, having him teach you how to speak. And so absolutely go to igniteyou.life, and you can see and apply there.
igniteyou.life, and we will put that contact information in there as well.
Oh
yeah, that's amazing. Okay, well, you know what, our listeners can find out a lot more about that and how they want, if they want to tell their story and be in one of the other Ignite books as well. I mean, we're going to share, all that information on how you can do that. I want, because we have just so much time, and you are just like this amazing, beautiful person that, you live right in our backyard too. And, I love that too. I love how the universe has kind of orchestrated all of that as well. So when we talk to people we always, kind of ask them a little bit about, what they like to do for fun, what's their recreation. And, again, I think about your mom and her story of what she told me. And here you are, JB, in 2020, when COVID hits the world. And JB, I'm going to just share a little bit of story, and then I'm going to let you dive into it and tell us all a little bit more. But on your 50th birthday year, you decided you wanted to do something really big, really wow. And having not previously trained, to ride a bus, to cycle, she just wakes up one morning and goes, Peter, I think I'd like to, maybe ride across Canada on a bike for my 50th birthday during COVID. Like, so how many people went, what? And then, tell us, because again, that was, for me, watching your journey going across Canada, and just watching your videos every day and your posts. And I mean, that alone really, you inspired me. You ignited me to wake up differently and be different in my day. And so I can only imagine all of the other people's lives that you touch just by stepping into that, what's possible.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, I was hit like everybody else with COVID. Can't go out, can't do this, can't, wait, don't know what's going to happen. And it just really, for my spiritual being, it was very jarring. Like, what do you mean I can't? What do you mean I have to wait? And what do you mean I'm not allowed? And it just didn't sit well with me. And I felt like, how long are we going to have to wait to hear what we're allowed to do and what is possible for us? And the word possibility just kept percolating in me. And like everybody else, we in sheltering in, we went and bought a whole bunch of junk food and canned food and packaged food. And I was eating food I'd never eaten before. Like, oh, wagon wheels look good and ravioli from a can. And oh my gosh, I forgot what craft dinner tasted like. And the next thing you knew, I'd gained 16 pounds. And it was just before my 50th birthday. And I was like really upset. I mean, the world was just not converging the way I wanted. And I realized like I needed to do something that was just going to really, change my pattern and change my habit and change my belief system. And so, yes, I decided that it would be fun for Peter and I to get on our tandem bike, which we only use very recreationally. We'd maybe only cycled 3 or 4 times in the past 2 years. And I was like, let's cycle across Canada. And I did it because for a couple of reasons. I wanted to show people it's possible. A lot of people think that I'm so lucky and I'm so privileged and I have all these things and I've worked so hard in my business and everything comes easy and I'm so lucky. And I wanted to show people you can literally have an idea one morning, wake up, get up off the couch and go and do it. Mm-hmm. You just have to put one foot in front of the other and go after it. And as you do it, the answers will unfold, the possibilities will unfold, the next opportunity will unfold. And so I started to record and show people like, today's the day I'm going to cycle across Canada. I don't have all the answers. We have an end goal. This is what we're headed towards. And then every day I showed them how we overcame the challenges. And the magical thing was, and I tell people this all the time, is that I visualized myself doing it. I didn't have the ability to train. We left in July. We only had about a month of nice weather. I only was cycling about 40 kilometers. The most I'd ever cycled was 40 kilometers. And that was like a big reward for us. But to do our trip, we had to cycle about 150 kilometers a day. 3 times what I was doing, 4 times what I was doing. And so I visualized myself doing 150K. I saw my legs moving. I saw my feet pedaling. I saw the road going past me. I saw the vista, the prairies, the mountains. I visualized the whole entire trip right until we got to our finish line. And the very first day we got on the bike and left, we did 98 kilometers that day, quite easily and quite effortlessly. And what I realized is my brain was so programmed into what it needed to do that it just kicked into gear. It's like, oh, we've seen this. We know this. We've been preparing for this. We mentally know what we have to do. And so the body just started doing it. And it really emphasized the power of visualization. You have to see yourself there. You have to see yourself in this success. You have to feel yourself there. I felt the wind. I felt the stress of the strain of the muscles. And that to me is the key. So for all of you listening, you have a dream and there's something you want to do, start seeing yourself on that stage, seeing yourself in that meeting, seeing yourself wearing those clothes, seeing yourself doing that radio interview. See yourself there, feel yourself there, get it totally immersed. And what does it take to become that person, to be that? And of course, as you know, that we successfully cycled 5,000 kilometers. And just to add to the story, this summer we are cycling to the top of the world. We're going to Alaska. Yeah, because what I know is that I totally can do it because I can visualize it and I can see it. We can plan all the logistics, absolutely. But what I now know is I've created this new habit where my body loves to cycle. I love to be outdoors. I love the adventure. It's totally possible. And it just every day reminds me that what are we working for? We've got to have that dream, that passion, that thing that we love, the thing that lights us up. And for whatever reason, God showed me that that's what lights me up. I love to be on the back of the bike and seeing all the animals in the fresh air and showing people that it's possible. And I'll be the first to admit, I've kind of gained back another 10 or 15 pounds from over the winter of, like hibernating again. So yes, my ego is like, oh, I've got to fit into my cycle shorts and I'm not as thin as I was last year. But that too has a learning lesson in it, because so many times we think we're supposed to figure it out and know what we're doing and just be perfect at it. And this is a great symbolism for like, you have to just keep exercising that muscle. You have to get a little bit ahead, then you step back and then you get ahead again. You just have to keep working it and doing what you love. You've got to love it. And so many of us ask me, so many people say like, what's your business success? And I say, I love it. Like, I love it. And I love it so much that I want to get up every morning and do it. I want to stay up late and do it. I love what I do. And that makes it feel nothing like work.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Wow.
And now, can anybody join your cycling journey to Alaska?
Yeah, well, you can find us on Roku. You can watch us on Ignite Possibilities on Facebook. We're going to be posting a lot. And so I just had my birthday last weekend again.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And it's interesting because at 51, I'm like, I'm not going to call it I'm 51 years old. I'm stepping into my 51st dimension of me. And what does that look like?
Beautiful.
And it's a very interesting thing to go through a portal to say, what does the 51st dimension of me look like? It's not about age and it's not about accomplishments. It's like, what do I want to create and manifest in this 51st dimension, this next 12 months of me? And so you can absolutely follow us. I'm doing a blog called The Journey of a Jubilant Being, because my name is JB and so many people are like, what does JB stand for? And Les Brown called me the Jubilant Being. And I was like, I like that. So
beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm going to be blogging about the journey of the Jubilant Being. And it's just really about my journey, because we can infuse marketing, and I'll share this with your listeners also. There's a lot of fun things about your business that you can infuse into what you do and what your business is about. But when you share with people who you are and what you stand for, and that goes right back to your story, when you tell your story and how you persevered, how you overcame, how you handled things, the values that you have as a person, and you infuse that into your story, that's the thing that people want to connect with. That's who people want to do business with. They don't care about your logo so much and your colors, but if they know you're dedicated, if you're devoted, if you're ethical, if you hold high values, that's the kind of things that they look for. And those are the people they want to do business with. And so the more you can share about who you are and what you believe in and what you value, the more you will attract to your brand and to your business, the more people will come to you.
Wow.
We could take notes, Cheryl. We're going to have to come back and listen to this so we could take notes for ourselves, because you are just a fabulous being, and I love that jubilant being, because I've often wondered what JB stands for too, and so we'll just go with that.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Les Brown, calling me the Jubilant Being. And it's neat because it just lets you be a being. It lets you just be your essence and your entity and who you are. And it's not about your brand or your business or how much money you're making. And I think a lot of us come to that at a certain time in our lives where, how can I truly be myself and what I love and who I am, and at the same time serve others? And I think that's the magic recipe.
Yeah, It truly is, because we're all here on this planet Earth together to be in service, to inspire, to help, to love, to offer that compassion, and to ignite the spark in other people, so that that just starts to ripple out into the world.
Yeah, be a student, be a student. I think that one of the hardest things we do on ourselves as adults is we think we know everything, or we're supposed to know everything. And when you sit into being a student, like a learner of life, it's such a great place to be in, because you let go of expectations on yourself, and you're like, I'm learning this for the first time. I'm just trying this. I just went rock climbing, mountain climbing on the weekend. And I remember, so my husband took me mountain climbing on the weekend to the Via Ferrata, which is, an incredibly difficult climb. I've never climbed before. There were 6 other people in the group. Everyone else had climbed before. And so I was a little intimidated, because people had the cool gear and they were all decked out and they'd climbed before and they were ready to rock and roll. And I'd never done it before. But the very first second before I clipped in my carabiner into the rails, into the safety harness, I said to myself, okay, here we go. We're doing this for the first time. And I said that sentence to myself to remind myself to enjoy the experience of doing something for the first time, not comparing myself to the better climbers, not having an expectation that I should do it in a certain time frame, just letting go of everything. And I literally said to myself, here we go. You're doing this for the first time. And it gave myself permission to be slower than everybody else, to be silly, to be, and all the wonderful emotions that humans get to have. I gave myself permission to do that, instead of what we normally do as humans is we compare ourselves immediately.
Yes.
We get down on ourselves.
Yep.
We criticize ourselves, and then we give up. And so if you can take that moment every time you try something new and breathe into it and say, okay, this is me doing something for the very first time, and being in the bliss of being a student of it, it's so much more rewarding. And it allows you to learn what you need to learn, instead of judge yourself by what you don't know. And how could you know it without ever doing it?
Yep. And don't we put that
Absolutely.
pressure on ourselves
All the
like,
time?
where the heck did that come from?
Yeah. Well, we know some of those limiting beliefs that we're all carrying around in the subconscious programs and the depths of our mind. And we could just have this conversation with JB. We could go on and on, but I know that we kind of had put a little bit of a time frame on it. So I think we probably should wrap it up.
Thank you for letting me go over.
No, it's all good.
We keep you on, but we
Yeah.
also respect your time.
Absolutely. And so just, the final thing, JB, what really is your motivating factor? What's the thing that motivates you every day? The one thing that you could say motivates you to do what you do every day, and changing the lives of other people and having such a huge impact on so many people. What is it that really motivates you?
Okay, so you're digging deep. As a child, I have to honestly say I tremendously felt different, and that I didn't belong. And I think many kids feel that way. I don't think I'm unique in that feeling. But I grew up in a small town where I didn't really fit in. I love fashion. I love to be different. I was extremely exuberant and was always told to calm down, be quiet. Why are you like that? Why are you talking so much? So I felt as a child that I just didn't fit in and I didn't belong. And I didn't feel like anyone really recognized and saw my talents and saw my gifts and saw my abilities. And yes, I had incredibly encouraging parents who gave me all kinds of things, but somewhere inside of me, and maybe it's my karmic story, but I just felt like I wasn't really noticed for the magic of me, not any better than anyone else, just who I was. And so growing up, I think with that little bit of hollowness, I feel very driven now to allow everyone else I meet to feel like they are amazing and they're magical and they're special and they're incredible just the way they are. And I feel really driven to allow people to shine their light, their story, their history, their drama, their failures, whatever it is, and let them know, regardless of that, and despite all of that, they are so amazing and so powerful and so deserve to be seen and so deserve to be acknowledged. And so I feel like that part of me that I miss, I've dedicated to bringing it to others and helping others to fill their own cup. Because when we can fill our cups with our own grace about ourselves, then we have so much more in our saucer to share with others. And so that's really what drives me, is the knowingness that I felt that way and other people feel that way. And I had the gift and the ability to help them transform out of that feeling into this powerful possibility feeling, into this knowingness that they are great and they deserve everything that they dream of, and the world sees them and they are recognized. So really, I would truly say that that's what drives me, is my own childhood desire to never feel that way and not wanting anyone else to ever feel that way.
Wow. What a beautiful message to end with. And I know that you have been a huge influence and impacted my life in very positive ways. And I look forward to continuing that with you, and truly am blessed. And thank you again for being on our guest today. And
Absolutely.
Cheryl, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
I had heard of JB before, right? I'd heard of you through Anita. Fascinated by your journey last year on Facebook. I was following it thinking, whoa, this woman's amazing. Like, let's just do this. And now that I've had the opportunity to listen to you and engage with you a little bit in this, I'm totally blown away. And Anita, I think there's got to be some kind of we need to partnership up here.
Yes.
With something. I don't know what that looks like, but
well, you know what? Women, we are fearless and fabulous.
Yes.
Right?
Let's plant the seed, because I love what you ladies are doing. And I want to say thank you for being a part of what we do and supporting us. And I love what you're doing, because it's important that each and every person creates an environment that supports them, has the mindset that supports them, and surrounds themselves with people that support them. I mean, those are three very key things that we need in our lives. And what you ladies are doing is phenomenal. Anita, you'll laugh, because Peter and I, when we went mountain climbing, we stayed overnight at the hotel and Peter slept closest to the door.
So yeah, I'm traveling with JB and Peter, and that's a whole other story we'll tell everybody about. But yeah, there's a story behind that.
That's right. Your feng shui is always talking in my mind, always thinking about it. And your voice is like, I got to move my office. I got to change the picture in my bedroom. I got to fix this.
Love it. Love it.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you
and we're going to
much.
look forward to following your journey to Alaska this summer. We'll let everybody know how they can, join in as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Thank
we
you
love
so
you.
much for being you.
Thank
love you too.
So
Thank you, ladies.
much.
You started